Hello, my name is Colton Cox, and I'm blessed to be a collegiate athlete at Midway University, and I'm passionate about dreaming big and working hard to achieve these big dreams. With that, I have something to share with you. According to the official NCAA, only about 7% of all high school athletes go on to compete in their sport at the collegiate level. That's roughly 480,000 athletes, which is just a fraction of the millions of high school athletes across the country. This product idea I have is worth investing in because it solves two problems with these individuals. The first being wasted potential and wasted life experience, then wisdom with these individuals. The second problem is that there's a concerning amount of human growth being wasted for the country's future workers, parents, loved ones, and future leaders of this country. And this is due to how valuable the experience sports can be for any athlete at any level for that matter. The problem that causes this statistic is the fact that these athletes can't be seen enough to accomplish their dreams. Their talents are hidden, and their name is obscure to coaches on the next level. This especially can be said for individual athletes who compete for a team through their individual performance. Examples being track and field, swimming, wrestling, and to relate to Midway University, Western, and Huntsville. My app and its service for these athletes is the best solution to these problems because of the nature of it. My app will promote certain competition events for athletes to demonstrate their skills, in front of any coaches at the right level. It also gives these athletes opportunities to do what they love and compete with their sport. I am qualified and experienced in this problem because, as before mentioned, I am and have been an athlete for 8 years now and intend to continue my athletic career as long as possible. And as someone speaking at the collegiate level, I know how long and drawn out the battle of recruiting can be. Considering my authentic experience and knowledge on this problem, I will show you why it is needed among the modern athlete and how it will shape careers and futures for the individuals of this country. While considering the main ideas of my app, it's important to inform why this app is needed and secretly in high demand and why it can shape the athlete's life. I'll demonstrate why this service is needed in modern day athletics through a hypothetical. Imagine this, a high school football player who was born and raised in Alaska until his senior year when he moved to Washington State. Now he wants to compete at the collegiate level, but is in a time of uncertainty because he can't let go of his true passion in life that's been his emotional getaway from everything else simply due to the lack of exposure his name has through uncontrollable things. His problem can be fixed if he used my app Pursuit to compete at recruiting camps for coaches to see. The problem being that there are so many talented and worthy athletes out there who are overlooked simply because they can't show their skills off because of either lack of eyes on them or uncontrollable circumstances, and it's a tragedy because for some of these athletes, their sport is a part of their character and it's what shaped them as a person. I'll give you a second hypothetical that shows how crucial my app can be. Imagine a teenage boy who lives in a troubled household with the lack of a father figure. This boy will go on to pray, and eventually God can introduce him to the gym, in which he falls in love with, which will then kickstart his weightlifting career. But now he's in a time of conflict because he can't find any opportunities to show off his hard work and talents. This is a real world problem that I've witnessed firsthand. Take my former teammate Chris Robinson, who pursued track and field after high school. I asked him this when interviewing him: would having a tool that gets you more opportunities to demonstrate your talents through live competition have helped you further your career in track and field through recruiting? Would it have solved the problem of giving your name exposure to achieve your athletic goals with career recruiting? He would go on to answer with this, quote, "Yes, having a tool like this would have definitely helped get my name out a lot more because in a sport like track that is so heavily individual, if you are not top in state or in the nation, it is very hard to get your name out unless you've communicated with coaches for a while, and someone in my shoes who never really got good at the sport until later on in their high school career. It was hard to build trust in coaches along being uneducated on how the recruiting process works. An app that helps with that and makes it simpler would benefit a lot of individual sport athletes. There are a lot of colleges out there, and since track depends on times you could hit the marks for certain schools, and never know, so you can kind of see this app as like a grocery store for coaches," end quote. As you can see through real experiences, this app helps build careers for athletes at all levels. It also is a helpful recruiting tool for athletes because it helps them do what they love by enjoying their sport through competition. It also supplies the biggest demand in their career, attention from coaches at the higher levels. Now, after revealing the negativity of our situation, it's time to dream big, because we'll look at the potential, the change we can make, what our communities of athletes can be. Let's discover how we can switch the mindset to pursuit. My solution to this problem is an app called Pursuit, and it will help individual sport athletes receive opportunities to compete, which fixes this problem of lack of exposure to real athletes with real potential. The app will promote athletic events for these athletes to compete at, or to also show coaches certain athletic events to put their athletes in, or to make these events that are hosted by governing bodies, whole team events. The same can be said for combines or camps. It will give their athletes the best possible chance to succeed. It will also have a messenger system so that athletes and coaches communicate about recruiting opportunities. The app will promote athletic events for these athletes to compete at, or to show coaches certain athletic events to put their athletes in, or to make these events that are hosted by these governing bodies an entire team event. The same can be said for combines or camps. It will give their athletes the best possible chance to succeed. It will also have a messenger system so that athletes and coaches communicate about recruiting opportunities. Let's move back to the earlier hypothetical I set up for us, the teenage weightlifter. If he used my app, he would receive perfect opportunities to kick off his weightlifting career by finding local weightlifting competition events in his state that he can use to meet his competition weight standards, and then climb the ranks within the sport and receive the experience and personal growth of being a strength athlete. He'll then be able to recognize because through tenacity and pursuit, he created a positive situation in a hard one. I'll also give examples of athletes at the collegiate level moving towards the professional level. Take former Hawaii Rainbow Warrior kicker Kensei Mutsuawa. Part of the reason he was recruited from Hawaii University is the National Football League's the National Football League's International Player Program that does exactly what this app does. It gives athletes opportunities to do what they want to do, a chance to compete. Note that he is originally from Japan and was able to start his career through chances to kick and to do his sport, which is what this app provides with for professional careers. The argument could be made against this app that because it focuses on individuality instead of a team effort, it will not get off the ground. This is a shallow argument because it doesn't look at the bigger picture of athletics through a real athlete's perspective like mine. This is meant to help all athletes make the most of their opportunities and serve them well. And if this app is invested to right, it can do just that on the global level. What this app will need is just the right promotion so that it can receive these athletic events from the governing bodies that host them, so that these events can be seen by athletes and coaches around the world so that they can enter them and improve their careers. Due to this nature, if it is promoted right, it will succeed and it will get off the ground. It's important after looking at logistics to see how our world can be different and how we can shape the lives of these athletes to help them be better. If my app were to be invested into right, then you can expect to have a world with more inspiration, more resilience, more potential, more stories that impact others to act towards their dreams. Stories like Josh Jacobs. Jacob's story involves him sleeping in a car some nights due to his poverty, and his father going hungry so that him and his siblings can eat. However, his sport being football became his outlet and led him to the University of Alabama and eventually the Green Bay Packers. Now imagine how high the tragedy and the unfortunate reality of this story if he didn't have the exposure his sport gave him, and how hard it would have been if he was never able to play and turn his life around using his sport. That will be the reality for some kids, unfortunately. Will have all the talent and heart in the world, but never be seen because of circumstances they can't control. Now that you know the large problem at hand and how my products can fix it, it is time that I come to you for help. What this app needs, just like the athletes, is exposure and promotion and advertisement. If the right funding is put into it, and then it will be used to be demonstrated to governing bodies who host these athletic events, so that those governing bodies can advertise these events through the app, it will also need to be advertised to the athletes and the coaches to use so that the app can expand. I will provide a GoFundMe link to give access to investing in the app's advertisement and development. You will not be supporting me, but instead the athletes of this country who are trying to make their dreams a reality and then improving themselves to impact others. Friends, This app will be about more than just athletics. It will be about helping those in our country who compete. It will be about serving them because they are on a path of growth that is full of discipline, resilience, strength, and tenacity. And those exact things will be entered right back into our country to make it better. We aren't just here to make more athletes. We're here to pursue success in our goals. It is now safe to say we are all also on the pursuit.